Good afternoon. It is June 26th, Saturday afternoon. I'm back in the reading nook, and today I am going to read the story Worlds Apart from the Complete Griselda by Oliver Dickinson and published by Isaris Inc. This story originally appeared in the Convulsion program guide in 1992. And I have been steadily reading through these short stories over the course of the last year. Now, each of these stories I'm coming to not completely cold, because I have read through this book 2 or 3 times, if not a little more. But I've not read these for a while. I've not read these before. I've not read through this before coming to record this video, so there will be ums and ahs. But it's a cool, slightly bright, getting brighter afternoon. I have a nice hot cup of tea. In this case, toast and jam, for those of you at home who are wondering. And as others will attest, it really does taste like strawberry jam on toast. So, with that, I will continue with Worlds Apart from the Complete Griselda. Worlds Apart. It is not a subject to which I generally give much thought, but I am willing to lay plenty of 8 to 5 that few of the dolls who frequent loudly leaners will score very high for looks. Of course, this does not go with Griseldas there, but ordinarily they are not such dolls as will cause many guys to get excited about them, though if it comes to that, Lelena's male customers rarely let themselves get excited over any doll. For it's a sure thing that a doll can be brought to appreciate a guy's feeling about her a whole lot better if he spends a little dough on her, and Lelena's male customers are seldom in position to do this. Furthermore, the chances are that this is well known among adventurer dolls, and such in Pavis, so that any who are looking for some action are apt to try joints as gimpies or Jarines. And those who are seen around about Lelena's are generally tough dolls like Hanufa or Elsa from Adari, who like to go where the booze is cheap but still drinkable. So when Griselda walks through the door with another doll in tow, who is a real knockout, it causes no little stir. And some of those present are even observed to sniff at their mugs if they suspect there is something in them besides beer. For this doll is really something to see. She stands 2 or 3 fingers higher than Griselda, and has a mass of hair the colour of ripe corn, which frames a very nice face indeed, showing green eyes with plenty of sparkle, and the shape is marvellous to behold, as everybody can see. For she has very little on below the waist but a pair of knee-high length boots, and what she is wearing on her top of does not go very far towards covering this either, so that a really remarkable amount of her shape is on show. Contemplating these features seems to cause many guys to be suddenly noticing that it seems to be very hot in there. And in fact, I get a feeling a trifle warm myself. "Bring out your best, Lelena," cries Griselda merrily. "Nothing but the best will do for Red Fox." Then she looks about and spots me at a table off to one side, the way I like to be, and comes over. Before I know it, she and this Red Fox are sitting down, and so also is Crooked, who must come in after them, though I did not notice him in the excitement. "Olaf, may I present Red Fox," says Griselda to me, still sounding very cheerful. "Now, Red, you mind what you say in this man's hearing, because he will surely remember every word. And before you can say all of adventurous, it will be all over town. With plenty that you do not say for added flavour." And she laughs like anything. This Red Fox laughs a little too, but to my eyes she is looking somewhat dazed, and does not seem to be taking much in. Then the drinks arrive, and Griselda slaps Red Foxes down before her and engages her in earnest conversation, and because I see Crooked looking at me, I decide to give him some attention, though I will dearly love to hear what Griselda is saying to Red Fox. "Maybe you're wondering what comes off," says Crooked. "I admit that this will interest me no little." "I never see anything like it," he says, shaking his head. "You may say what you like, but some funny things are going on these days. How it happens, we're out in the rubble for reasons I won't discuss, except to say that everything is above board and we have the blessings of old Daddy Pavis himself. There is the boss, and Griselda, and Hanufa, and me. We're going along nice and quiet, though the boss is getting irritated because we happen on nothing to make it worth our while to be there, and he does not care to be in the rubble unless he has more to show for it than the price of a few drinks. Which is what we stand to make from the Pavis temple for our time. Suddenly, we're hearing this strange noise in a building off to one side, and you know as well as I do that you cannot ignore strange noises in the rubble. So we ran out in front of the building, and are ready for anything when out steps this doll, gazing about her as if everything she sees is new. And this kind of throws us. I mean, here is this doll out in the middle of the rubble, wearing not much more than it will cover one of Hanufa's fists, and carrying nothing to defend herself with, which we can see except a couple of knives tucked into her boots. "Oh, Griff," she says. "What is happening to me now?" "Griff," says the boss. "What is this Griff? Watch it, all of you. This may be some kind of Celtic. We'd better throw her down and see if she has a chaos mark on her." "Where's Wolfhead? Anyway," I ask. "I'm coming to that," says Crockett, somewhat testily. Anyway, we start forward, and the doll makes a rush to one side, but the boss reaches out and grabs her. Well, it happens too fast for me to see, but somehow he goes right over her arm and winds up against the wall with quite a thump. "Listen," cries the doll. "I'm no enemy of yours. I don't even know what I'm doing here. A moment ago, I'm in the woods, and where in hell am I now? Are you magicians?" Now, Griselda is studying this doll, and she says, "Lay off her. I have a hunch she may be on the level. You heard a noise just now?" She asks the doll, who shakes her head, says, "No, I just leave my horse for a moment to look into a ruin, and I seem to walk through to here between one step and another." Well, this seems as doubtful as the stories I ever hear, and Hanufa thinks so. In fact, she growls to me, dressed like that, she figures to be a sorceress. Who else is so dumb to wear no armour? Or much clothes. But Griselda does not seem to be bothered. "Where is this ruin?" she asks, as if she was really interested in knowing. The doll shrugs. "I do not know precisely. I'm on my way to Moorharn. When I see it," Griselda looks at the rest of us. "You hear of Moorharn?" she asks, and we all shake our heads. "Neither do I," she says. "You must come a long way, sister, or else you are a good liar." At this, the doll seems to get mad. "Hell's tea," she says. "It's bad enough being dumped somewhere I know nothing of, while having everyone to suspect me. I cannot explain it. But there has to be magic involved. Maybe it's done through mirrors. My sister can get about all over long distances that way. All I can say is stuff like that is always happening to me." "Okay," says Griselda. "Let us assume you are the victim of circumstances. We all have a job to do, and you better stay with us. This is no place to be wandering around alone." "Where is it anyway?" says the doll. But when Griselda explains, she just shakes her head and she says she never hears of it. The boss is back on his feet again by now, holding his wrist and looking at the doll in a rather hostile way. "That is some fancy throw you do, miss," he says, and then he reels off his healing spell. The doll looks at him pop-eyed. "Do you do magic easily here?" "Why," says Griselda in surprise, "you do not do any magic?" The doll shakes her head. "Only wizards and their apprentices use magic where I come from, though we have magic objects." She shudders. Well, you do not want to know my life story now. Let's get on with this job of yours. I'm Red Fox, by the way." Croker shakes his head. She's hard to make out, this Red Fox. But it seems to be all true that she has no idea where she is. For she displays such ignorance that I'm willing to believe her home is way out on the edge somewhere. Anyway, there is nothing the matter with her when it comes to Moxie. For it happens, but we get jumped by a bunch of brews a bit further along. Excuse me, hay fever. These are nothing special. In fact, if I'm any judge, they are low down even for brews. But they come running right at us, full of determination. It seems that it is the sight of Red Fox in particular that spurs them on. For they are very evidently excited by this. Later she claims that she never sees such creatures before. But if this is so, she does not let it faze her. For she has one knife out and across a bruised throat in a trice, and her moves are so good that the others cannot lay a paw on her. In fact, they swiftly veer away from her and are aiming to grab Griselda instead. It seems like. And we all have our hands full for the moment and cannot help. But this Red Fox just pulls in, hamstrokes one, and drops her cloak over another's head, and that is it. They start heading for home. Those that can still make it. As you can imagine, Griselda is very grateful to her, and she is quick to advise her on dumping her cloak and trying on trying to clean off a knife. And here is another odd thing about her. For her knives are both fine-looking iron, and she seems really surprised that we tell her how rare and valuable such things are around here. Hanifa shakes her head, and I can tell she still suspects Red Fox of being a sorceress. But I do not care what she is, personally, as long as she can fight good. Well, that is about it. We finished the job, and the boss is talking with the Pavis guys now, and Hanifa is, well, I do not know where. Just then, in comes Wolfhead, but he does not sit down with us, but motions his head with the crooked, who goes off with him. So now I have a chance to listen to the conversation of Griselda and Red Fox. But it's not very interesting, to be frank, for this Red Fox has very little to say, and what Griselda is talking about, I hear more than once before. In fact, Griselda seems to be giving her the history of her life, and Red Fox is listening as if she's trying to take it all in, but finding it hard going. Griselda does not appear to notice this, but she does eventually pick up on the fact that most of the guys in the Lolinas are able to keep their eyes off Red Fox. Come, she says, let's go and get you some new clothes. I will not say to a new cloak, says Red Fox, and off they go. And as I do not care to follow, having no interest in doll's clothing, I'm not a party to what happens next. But hear it from others. It seems that while they are pricing cloaks, some big tough guy who is new to town starts coming on very heavy to Red Fox. Before Griselda can intervene, Red Fox first tells him politely to get lost. And before Griselda can and then when he persists, disposes of him less politely with one of the best demonstrations of the old 1-2 ever seen in this man's town. So the word gets about pretty fast that Griselda's new friend is worthy of some respect, despite the way she dresses. In the next day or two, Griselda and Red Fox are seen about together frequently, and Red Fox loosens up and gets to talk to people, but she's no easier to make out than before. For sometimes she will talk as if she knows her way about Dragon Pass and comes from somewhere around, but more often she will speak of places and people that no one ever hears of, and relate tales that are very hard to believe. What with guys riding giant slugs and her getting taken over by a demon because of a magic ring that can turn into a sword, and by this and that, and Topknot, who is by no means as dumb as he looks, comments that she seems to go strange like this when anyone calls her by name. Many readers speculate that this is all part of an act, but others say she must be a very good actress if this is so, and have a very fine imagination. And Loudlina says that she never sees the like of the coins that she carries, and it is all very strange. It is of the general opinion that Griselda and Red Fox are hitting it off well. In fact, some say they are two of a kind, but I'm not so sure of this. From time to time, Griselda will tell stories from the past that Griselda does not appear to care for, to judge from her expression, while Griselda has often had occasion to glance at Red Fox in mild exasperation. For wherever they go, there are persons who are eager to make Red Fox's closer acquaintance, and whilst Red Fox is ready to discourage such would-be suitors if they get too fresh, in a variety of ways that are all very direct, such as an elbow in the ribs or a quick jolt to the jaw, she does not seem to willing to avoid such attention by adopting a less revealing dress style. For although all the old timers in Pavis know that Griselda has little interest in attracting male attention, a new crop of adventurers is hitting Pavis as the caravans come through, and no matter how many they shake off, there are always more who seem to think Red Fox style of dresses are common from her, if not from both of them. This is plainly somewhat irritating to Griselda, and once or twice I hear a comment to Red Fox that her style of dresses is attracting these types. But Red Fox does not seem to care. Well, I'm not with them all the time, and I'm not keeping count when I am. But there must be after about a dozenth time they have had to shake someone that happens to, what is a sure thing to happen sooner or later, and this is that Griselda blows her top. On this occasion, it's not even a male, but a female adventurer who's new in town. She was a great big hefty doll, who makes it quite clear she has no time for males of any sort, but when she perceives Griselda and Red Fox, she evidently approves of them. In fact, she goes up to them as they're at the bar in Lolina's getting their drinks, and throws her arms around the shoulders and says, "Hey, sweethearts, how about bringing your drinks to my table? I'm sure we have lots in common." Red Fox just slides out from under her arm and says, "No thanks," quite politely. Griselda displays such indignation at being handled in this way and tells her to get lost. Now this adventurer doll has several drinks on board, and so she's not ready to change her mind fast about anything. "No need to get excited," she says. "I just feel like a little sympathetic company, that is all, and your friend seems a good sport. Or why is she dressed like that?" Now Griselda seems to take great umbrage at this, and she whips out a little sword and holds it up in front of the adventurous doll's nose. "I will cut off that nose of yours if you do not stop poking it in," she says. "Favour us with your absence." And then she mutters and turns her hand towards the doll, which must be throwing a spell, because the doll jumps as she is stunned, and then backs away hastily, clutching her arm and saying, all right," and she departs, Liliana's in haste. Red Fox looks slightly shocked at this, and she says, "There's no need to get so tough about it, Griselda. She's only trying to be friendly." "That kind of friendliness I can do without," says Griselda, as she sheathes her sword. And they take the drinks, but neither has much to say, and after downing them they leave at Griselda's suggestion, for she says that she wishes to talk with Red Fox privately. I follow after them discreetly, and said it is night. I'm able to get close enough to hear without their noticing me. Griselda is saying, "I'm thinking, maybe I'm a bit rough on that doll. I can see a point. People are bound to go drawing the wrong conclusions if you go dressed about like that. Seriously, Red, it is beginning to wear me down." "I am comfortable with the way I dress, Griselda," says Red Fox, "and I will be grateful if you let it alone. Sooner or later people will get the message, and I prefer to handle them in my own way. Let us leave it like that." Now Griselda evidently becomes a little heated. "I cannot leave it like that," she cries. "It's not that I am sick of just having these slobs pestering us. I think you are making yourself seem like something which you are not by going about dressed like one of Uluria's finest, and it is embarrassing to me." Now, well, this seems to hit Red Fox right where she lives. All right, and she tenses up and stares at Griselda without being able to produce a comeback right away. Then she gives a dry little laugh. She says, "So, I'm behaving like something I am not, am I? Well, what about you? The toughest doll in Pavis, who has to use magic to chase off a harmless drunk." "I do not know about harmless," replies Griselda. "And anyway, how is someone small like me going to cope with all these big hulking types without even trying to even the odds a bit? I'm not taller than you. I'm not that taller than you, and I manage," says Red Fox sharply. "All this fooling with magic is unnatural and shows lack of confidence in yourself." "Well, I'm not about to learn fisticuffs just to humour your prejudice about magic, even if you offer to teach me," says Griselda lightly, as if she was trying to make a joke of it. "I long ago learned that you either have to scare them off or get serious about damaging them." "So I gather from your delightful stories," says Red Fox, who is talking like she's saving all this up for a long time. "Well, if you're embarrassed about seeing with me, how do you think I feel? How do you suppose I like thinking of people saying, 'I wonder who that is with Griselda? I wonder if she's a hard case and a killer like her. She does not look it, but then neither does Griselda.' Well, this gets Griselda going, all right. 'Do not come all righteous over me,' she snaps. 'How do you get this chart to the Temple of Flood, if it comes to that? And do you not send off this lookalike of yours to know what grisly fate?' This stops Red Fox, but only for a moment. For now she really has the bit between her teeth. 'Who knows? Indeed,' she says. 'You certainly do not. You know very little about my life, whereas I know far more more than I wish to know about your career of crime and slaughter.' Now it is Griselda's turn to seem winded, but finally she draws a deep breath and says, quite quietly, 'I know I owe you one, Red Fox, what would save my skin more, but you're treading on dangerous ground talking like this to me.' Now, I can tell that Griselda is close to turning herself loose, and I hunt down a corner to be out of harm's way, but Red Fox just puts her hands on her hips and laughs. 'What are you going to do? Kill me?' she says. 'Are you trying to scare me off?' Well, get this. I'm not scared." Then she raises her hands and yells at the sky. "Now, Griff, what do I do to get dumped here? Do you set this up for some kind of joke?" Then something happens which I know you will not believe, but it happens all the same. A voice comes from nowhere, really loud, which says, "What? Oh, there you are. Hang on a sec. There, that should do it." Before Griselda can say yes or no, Red Fox vanishes. Just like that. This is so strange that I stand up to look at the sky, as if I will see something, and Griselda is bound to spot what I'm listening in. But first she just looks at where Red Fox is standing a moment before, with her mouth open. Then she shakes her head as if to clear it and says to me, "Well, I guess maybe she is a sorcerer or some such after all, and her pet demon gets her away. It's just as well, for she's pushing me to where I will have to fight her, and I do not really wish to do this." "Why is that?" I ask. Griselda shakes her head and sighs. Well, for one thing, I may not altogether like her style, but I admire her nerve. And there it is. What really bothers me is that I'm not sure I will win. Well, thank you for listening to me reading Worlds Apart from the Complete Griselda. I will be back again with another story from this collection. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, do please click the like button. If you've got any comment or feedback, then I will take the time to read those and respond. And of course, if you want to be alerted to further stories read from the Complete Griselda, please do click the subscribe button. Bye for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back again in the near future with another Griselda tale.